Today I want to talk to you guys about one of my favorite crops, spinach. So I've done a video on spinach before on overwintered spinach. You can check that out up here. This we're going to talk more broadly about spinach as a crop in general. So it's a great crop to grow because it's very high yielding. You get multiple cuts. So having said that, you really only can harvest it through the cooler months. It's a cool weather crop. There are some varieties of spinach that can be grown in the summer. New Zealand spinach is one that people often mention. I find New Zealand spinach isn't very good for commercial production because it's hard to harvest. And if you haven't seen my video on how to harvest spinach by hand, you can check that out up here as well. But as for the crop of spinach itself, it's a great crop for a small farm because you get a lot of yield per linear foot in the bed. There's really only about 3 months of the year that I won't have spinach and or that I won't seed spinach per se. That's usually June, July, and August. Though there are times if the spring is cool that I can push spinach planting into June, but you know, that's going to be mature by July, and it'll be mature really quickly because it's warm, and you might only get one cut and then it'll go to seed. So you have to be careful there. And there are times if you get a cool fall where you can start seeding it for the fall in August. So if you so you get a cool summer, you can plant it sometimes as early as late August. Spinach is one of the only crops that I use the earthway seeder for, and I use the chard plate or the beet plate to plant spinach. I do 5 rows on a 30-inch bed, and I can get a really thick stand. I get a lot more cuts in the winter. Like the fall and winter, I can get many cuts. This bed that we're looking at right here has already been cut 3 times, and I imagine I'll get 2 more cuts out of it going into winter, and it will totally survive the winter. And it might even sit there all winter, and I'll be cutting it into February. It's an incredible cool weather crop. The beautiful thing about spinach is that it actually tastes better the colder it gets. There's some kind of chemical effect where the starches convert to sugars in cold weather. So it has a better taste in the winter. However, it does have more of a rough look in the winter. So you get various different types of leaf size with spinach. You can get the small spoon-shaped leaf, which is perfect because you can put that in salad mixes, and it can be on its own, and you can even sell it as a higher value crop in that way. But then once you get multiple cuts, you start to get more rough-looking, bigger leaves that are kind of cut up, you know, like this kind of thing. And in that case, you're selling it at a lower price point, but you are getting a heavier yield. So generally speaking, you'll get a lighter yield on the baby type leaf, but you can sell it at a higher price per pound than on the larger stuff that's higher off the ground. You'll sell at a lower price, but then you get a higher yield. So it's kind of a trade-off. Overall, I find it's a very high yielding crop. Those of you who are familiar with my book and my work, I have a thing called the CVR, the crop value rating. If you haven't checked that out, check out this video here, which I explain it in what makes a profitable crop. Spinach is one of these crops that pretty much scores 5 out of 5 on the category, the criteria that I'm looking for to make a high value crop. It has a short date to maturity. It's popular. Everybody knows what it is. It has a high yield per linear foot. It has a high price per pound, and it has a long seasonality. So, like I said, there's only 3 months of the year that I don't really have spinach, and really, it's only like 2 months that I don't have it. It might be 3 months that I don't plant it, but I'll still get it, you know, pushing into the summer of stuff that was planted in the spring. So it's a very versatile crop as well because it can handle really cold weather. So it's a crop that you can have super early in the season and super late in the season. So all those things combined, it is a super, super high value crop, and I recommend any farmers that are looking to increase the output of your farm, consider growing spinach if you don't already. It's also an easy crop to grow. It's one of the first crops you should grow if you're getting started. Like I said, with the seasonality though, it's not easy to grow in the summer. So just forget growing it in the summer. Unless you're in sort of a temperate, cool climate, then you might be able to do it. But we get really hot summers here, so I can't even do spinach in the summer. I've tried many times, but it's just not really worth the effort. My two favorite varieties of spinach are Reflect, which I get from William Dam Seeds in Canada, and Space, which is a hybrid, which I get from Johnny Selected Seeds. You can also get Space in a few other places. It's a pretty common variety. But those two have been my tried and true. I like them because they're both similar. One thing that I look for in a spinach variety is that it's long standing, meaning that the crop stands up straight opposed to flopping over. That makes it easier to harvest, and that also makes it harvest with the quick cut greens harvester. But for the most part, I'm harvesting spinach by hand. The first cut, I can always usually harvest it with the quick cut greens harvester, but the second and third cuts, because there's going to be varying different lengths of the spinach, I'm going to use my hands. And so again, the video for that is up here. Check that out if you want to see more. All right guys, that's spinach, one of my favorite crops to grow, also one of my favorite crops to eat. I juice it, I make smoothies out of it, I put it in salads, we cook with it. Super versatile crop and a blast to grow. Alright, if you found that helpful, please hit the subscribe button right now. Please like and share these videos with your friends. And check out my website, theurbanfarmer.co, where you've got links to my one-day workshop, my online course, my book. There's a free extras there that's a bunch of added content that's a bonus to my book. And if you'd like to make a donation to the show, it's much appreciated and always welcome. You can do that at theurbanfarmer.co/support. Alright, thanks for watching.